Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Tech That Doesn't Byte. My name is Jeff Worden, and today we are going to talk about the Obi200 Voice over IP device. Now, this is going to be a fairly brief discussion on how to physically set it up and then demonstrate how it works. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is to create a Gmail address if you don't already have one. Now, you want to use this said Gmail address once you've got that to set up a Google Voice number. And that's kind of a critical thing you're going to need for this to work right. Now, once you've got that address, you want to register an account at obitalk.com. That's obitalk.com with that Gmail address. Once you log into the website, you will then set your new Google Voice number to be the usable phone number for that account. Now, in working with the ObiTalk website, I found it to be somewhat straightforward. You had to poke around a little bit, but if you're not the tech savviest guy around, you may find it a bit confusing. So don't be afraid to ask for help if you're not sure as to what you're doing. We could probably, find some kind of help thing to get you working around that. All right. So we have the device here. Now on the back here, you're going to have a series of jacks. In the back here, you got a power cord, a Cat 5 slot, USB slot, as well as one for a phone cord. Yes, a phone cord. Okay, so let's power this up first. Get this thing around here. Plug that into the top like that. And then we're going to plug in the Cat 5 cable. Now, the Cat 5 cable is a common cable that you use to set up networks and so forth. This Cat 5 cable that you're plugging into the back of the device itself, this needs to be plugged directly into the router. So this is going from the device to your router. You should definitely have a number of jacks on the back of your router for a Cat 5 cable. Now, the last thing you're going to do is that you are going to then go ahead and plug in your phone cord. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in here. Now, why in the world would I want to use a phone? Well, the beauty about using a voice over phone is you can basically just create a phone number where people can just simply reach you, kind of like a customer service number. You can even use it as a fax number if you're into that sort of thing. But this is what this is going to do. Now, we've already configured this, so this thing is pretty much set and ready to go. So now I'm going to demonstrate how this works here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back down here, and I'm going to get a phone. Now, a phone, for some of you youngsters, is a device that's used to actually make phone calls. Similar to how your cell phone works, but it's definitely a much bulkier device, and it's a lot more fun sometimes to play with that. So here is the phone I'm going to use right here. Yes, this ancient device, and I use ancient in the rather broad sense of the word, is an actual push-button phone. I realize it looks like a rotary phone. It's designed that way, but it's not an actual rotary phone. Although, if you happen to have one and you're willing to part with it for a demonstration reason, I'd be happy to return it to you. I would love to have you send it my way. Send a comment in the messages or contact us through our website. I definitely want to talk to you. All right. So this phone is now configured, plugged into the VoIP device to actually make phone calls. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this around a little bit here. All right. And then I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to call my cell phone. So here we go. So I lift the receiver. I don't know if you can hear this, but you can definitely hear a dial tone. How cool is that? All right. So I'm going to put this down right here. Dial my number. We'll see how well this works here. Hear that? Yes, that's the That Doesn't Byte cast opening song. How cool is that, right? Okay. I'll hang that up. Hang that up. And now for the real fun part about this. Give me a moment. Okay. I am now going to dial the phone. Yeah, it works. I haven't been able to get myself to stop laughing with the fact that this ancient device actually works with some very modern technology for a voice over IP type of thing. It's really kind of astonishing when you think about that. All right. And that's pretty much it. It's a really straightforward setup. Again, as I mentioned before, as you can see, it works really well even with older devices like this thing, and which means in turn that it does work with fax machines. Now, I recognize quite fully that fax machines are a somewhat ancient device of people sending papers to each other when, in fact, you can send PDFs and so forth. How lame is that? Right, I know. But you can fax with this. You may not be able to see it too well up here, but if you look across the top of this very exciting tax form that my wife sent me, you can see the blocked out numbers up there indicate that yes, in fact, this is an actual fax document. Now, I plugged this into my printer, which is an all-in-one type of device, so I was able to scan the document, fax it over to somebody, and then my wife, in return, faxed it back to the Google Voice number, and it worked. Now, I had to do some extra configuration with the printer itself to get it to work, but it wasn't a big deal. I just simply said, here's the fax number you are now, which happened to be the Google Voice number, bada bing, bada boom, and it worked. So, how cool is that? You don't need to buy any extra fancy equipment except for the ObiTalk device. Not an expensive device in and of itself, so it's definitely a lot of fun to have and a cool thing to enjoy there. Well, that's it for me. I'm Jeff Worden, and thank you for tuning in for another episode of Tech That Doesn't Byte. Please feel free to come and visit our website at techthatdoesn'tbyte.com.